So, first of all, apologies for absence. Councillor Chowan has sent his apologies. It's the same. Okay.
No, it's fine.
Right. Should we just try?
Yeah.
Can't work like that, can we? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Can they hear at home? All of those people watching.
That was a technical solution.
Right. Item 2, urgent business. I've not been notified of any urgent business. Item 3, declarations of interest. Do any members have any interest that they need to declare in advance of discussing any of the items tonight? No? Okay. Item 4, public question time. We haven't received any public questions. Item 5, the minutes of the Cabinet meeting held on the 10th of February, pages 1 to 16. Are members happy to agree those as a correct record?
Agreed.
Okay. Item 6, the Meridian Development Company. This is land and property at Meridian Centre and Crossbank Street in Primrose Bank, which is in the Worneth ward. This is just to provide some information relating to a council-owned joint venture and its land holding in and around Crossbank Street, Primrose Bank. We do have some information to consider before making a decision on this in the confidential section of the meeting. So if I can just ask members to note this at this time, and then we'll make a decision having heard the confidential information after we've excluded the press and public. Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. Okay, so item 7 is Fitton Hill selection of developer partner. This report and also item 14 will be deferred to the March meeting of Cabinet in 4 weeks' time. Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Okay. Item 8, Primrose Bank acquisition in Worneth. Councillor Roberts.
Thank you, Chair. So this report, and again there's an accompanying Part 2 report with more detailed financial information, is outlining the proposal to buy 19 homes on Primrose Bank in Worneth, which are currently being built. And I'm actually very pleased that we're able to bring this report to Cabinet with this proposal. As members will be aware, and it does outline some of the information in the report, we have a severe shortage of larger properties for social or affordable rent in the borough. Indeed, one recent report did a calculation that said, looking at the current numbers of people wanting a large home, so 4 beds or more, which is currently 2,689 families are waiting for a home that size. And across the borough, the whole borough, we only have 213. And a rough calculation is it would take 100 years to house all of those families who are currently waiting for a home of that size. So 19 homes won't make a huge dent, but it will be a significant percentage increase on the 200 odd that we have currently, and will offer some people who are in need a home that they can afford. So I'm very happy to recommend this acquisition to Cabinet.
Does any member wish to speak on this item? Councillor Jabbar?
Thank you, Chair. Like Councillor Robert, I too welcome this report and the fact that we're going to be helping 19 families. I know it's a small development, but it will help 19 families. And those 19 families will be rehoused properly in a decent house. On top of that, Chair, I'd like to draw your attention to page 34 of this report, where it talks about the Red Wolf programme. So basically, what we're trying to do is that we're actually making these properties very efficient and getting a scheme installed, which means that the power requirement of those houses will actually be generated from renewable energy. And we worked really hard with the European Union to get some funding, to be able to do that. And I'm genuinely very, very excited that these new homes will be built, but hopefully all of their power need will be provided from renewable sources that will be part of the development. And I'm sure, Chair, this is certainly the only scheme within the Northwest and probably actually in the whole of England that something like this is happening. So again, in terms of the whole green agenda and trying to decarbonise, Oldham is leading the way. And I'm very, very pleased with what we've been able to do. And I want to thank in particular our officers who has worked on this, but the Deputy Chief Executive who had to really do some very clever negotiation to get this scheme shifted from another project to this one so that we meet the deadline for the funding that we're getting for this project. So I think overall, Chair, this report actually do two things. Firstly, we're bringing 19 new properties into development, but secondly, we've got some very innovative, exciting proposition to provide power for those homes from renewable sources. So I'm absolutely delighted as Cabinet Member for Low Carbon to welcome this project.
Thanks, Councillor Jabbar. So, as well as providing larger homes for larger families, this will contribute to our ambition to be a carbon neutral borough by 2030. So it's great news on two counts. The recommendations are set out at the front of the report on pages 31 and 32. There is some financial information that we need to consider in the private part of the meeting before we can make a decision. So can we note those recommendations with a view to making a decision on item 15 later? Agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. Item 9, Occupational Health and Associated Services Contracts. Councillor Jabbar.
Thank you, Chair. Very little to add, really. This report is about recontracting provided to provide occupational health and associated services from April this year for a 4-year period. So after we've gone through the procurement process, we're recommending that Cabinet accept Optima Health Limited to provide these services from 1st of April 2020.
Thanks, Councillor Jabbar. Does any member wish to speak on this? No. So again, we'd note the recommendations in this report with a view to making a decision under item 16 in the confidential section of the meeting. Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. So next is grounds maintenance replacement vehicle fleet. Do you want to briefly introduce this item again? There's a section in the private part of the meeting that we need to consider.
Thanks, Chair. Just a brief introduction. This report seeks to approval of purchasing a fleet of about 17 double cab tippers. The current fleet is 7+ years old and have reached its planned end of life. And to continue using them would be financially not viable. The fleet is fully compliant with our air quality strategy, so going on from the renewable energy from the houses in the previous item, and all the engines are Euro 6 diesel, so which is fully compliant with our air quality strategy. So this report with the more financial details in part 2, but seeks approval to purchase 17 double cab tippers.
Does any member wish to speak? No? Okay, so again we'll consider the financial information in part B of the meeting before making a decision. Finally, we've got the Council Performance Report, which is all public, pages 51 to 98. It's encouraging that on the measures that we measure, which we measure everything, but the ones presented in this report, there is an overall significant improvement in performance between November and December 2019, so that's to be welcomed, and there are some specifics around the measures that have been highlighted within the report on which there is some good news. So this is just for Cabinet noting. Is this report noted?
Noted.
Thank you so much. Okay, so item 12, need somebody to move and second the exclusion of the press and public.
Move. Seconded.
Everybody wanted to move, but nobody wanted to second. Thank